Hello, I am Peter Lloyd, and welcome to this first edition of Start, where gaming is a serious business. Start is an interview series that focuses on the art, technology, business, and most importantly, the culture of video games. In each episode, I will sit down with one main player in the gaming industry for an in-depth conversation about their personal interests and insights. Our show brings a deeply informative approach on topics of concern for billions of gamers around the world. My guest today is Joost van Dreunen. How old were you when you first started playing video games?
The earliest real memories around it were probably like when I was 8 or 10. We had this, goofy console from like the late 70s, early 80s.
Only Atari makes the world's most popular home video games.
I have a 3-year younger brother, and it was always about whose turn is it. And then from there, it was PC-based games with Leisure Suit Larry. I had to learn English as a Dutchman to like crack the passwords and navigate the space. And
Did your parents know that you were playing Leisure Suit Larry? That was
They did. They had no idea what they got themselves into.
Joost is a professor at the NYU Stern School of Business and teaches a course on the video game industry. He also wrote One Up: Creativity, Competition, and the Global Business of Video Games. He co-hosts a podcast called The Unboxing and also founded Super Data Research. Joost, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And these days, what are you playing in your spare time?
I currently run a Loki deck on Marvel Snap. For me, the most fascinating category of gameplay is collectible card games. There's a mathematical model behind all of them that never ceases to amaze me. And then there's the games that I play for work, blockbusters. And then there's the ones I play with my kids. I get absolutely hammered at Super Smash or Mario Kart by my 10-year-old. But that doesn't really diminish the fun. I have my intimate space with the card games, and then there's the social part of it. It's a little bit like watching whatever sports you're into, and then on Monday you talk about it with your friends. Gaming has that same cycle for me, where being part of that narrative and just kind of seeing where people are.
Is it a technology business? Is it the entertainment business? What is it? How do you best look at it?
One of my former colleagues, Frank Lance, he has this quote for which he's known, which is making operas out of bridges. You're trying to make this thing that doesn't really have like a tangible format, like an opera, like it's just music, it's sound, it's an experience. And then, of course, bridges are these large-scale structures that require a lot of technology and so on. So it's this amalgamation of those two disciplines that really sits at the center of it for me.
Tell me a little bit about your take on Netflix's cloud gaming and other participants in that space.
Netflix entering the games industry is a reaction to their own business models, which have sort of started to flatline. Disney has the same problem, HBO has the same problem. So where do you go? They look at gaming as sort of like the new area to grow. Not because they like gaming necessarily, but because they don't have a choice. The financial industry is like, hey, what's going on here? Why is gaming growing so fast? And how do we latch our little fund onto that?
So Joost, you've written this book, One Up. It's a great book. You talk quite a bit about blockbuster economics. Could you explain that?
Every form of entertainment has the same power curve when it comes to success, meaning most of the money goes towards one or two titles. In gaming, in music, in film, it's not like, okay, there's 1,000 titles and everybody makes the same amount of money. No.
I guess there's no real good answer to that. There's kind of just a tension between consumers and game makers kind of have to make money.
Yes, there is obviously sort of this inherent tension in any kind of for-profit cultural industry. Let me put it in simple terms. If the New York Times was employing exclusively middle-aged white men, nobody would fucking read it. Because it's just like, well, that's going to be one narrative only. Yet for some reason, the games industry is made up mostly of men in their 30s. Okay, so what does that mean when billions of people of all backgrounds get forced to only play these games? You end up always placating the same audience because you know that your investment is going to bring a return. Smartphones become popular and everybody starts playing Candy Crush. People go, women are gamers now too.
You're fine.
It's like, no, they've always been gamers. You just haven't been making anything for them. Now that we know that, like, how can we change that a little bit?
Now that Joost and I have had a chance to sit down and talk about the video game business, we're going to sit down and play a game together. The game is called Nidhogg. It's an indie gem developed by a studio called Messhoff.
How are you better than I am? This is totally unreasonable. I'm going to get my tuition back from Colombia.
Yes! You finally got it.
Yes!
All right.
It's a good game.
Nice,
Now I
man.
like it. All right, maybe that's it. I was just the wrong color the whole time.
The tables have turned here.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go, back on top. I like how it breaks you down into bones and like rib cages and stuff when you get killed.
This is Nidhogg too. Have you played the first one?
No.
It was much harder, and it's much more abstract. In typical sort of New York game design, like it's very minimalist.
Yeah.
You know, like you see it here too with the big swords. You know, like the swords will block each other. So if we're both hitting high, then you can't connect. Basically, like trying to get the person to strike at a different level. More cartoony this way, but it works, I think.
I think it's a great game, I love it.
Screw this! Sorry if I broke it. I'm sorry, Max.